Welcome, everybody, to Women's Wellness Wednesday, where I, your host, Tireca Bright, will be going over various topics on health, inspirational advice, motivational coping skills to deal with wellness, how to encourage wellness daily, self care, a gamut of things. So, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be here. Um, in a few minutes, we will have Ashley Brown, our special guest, come on to share some tips, experiences, and a conversation about women's wellness. So, Ashley Brown,
Hello, good evening, everybody. Tarika, thank you for having me here.
thank you for joining us. It's so good to see you. Um, right now, we will dive right into things. Um, let us know a little bit about your expertise in mental health, the background you have from the beginning to current.
Now, I wouldn't say it's a bit of expertise, but I do have a lengthy experience working in behavior health and human services, mental health, working with psychiatric individuals, individuals diagnosed with intellectual disabilities, amongst other diagnoses. So I've been in the social service field for, I want to say, about 18 years now. Um, I started out as a direct support professional, direct support worker through Jobs way
Okay.
years back. And I just grew a passion for caring and supporting people.
Right.
Um, and at some point down the line, it became bigger than just a job because I noticed that a lot of these large organizations and corporations um, they don't necessarily provide the adequate care that these individuals need and
Mm-hmm.
support that these individuals need. So it became a passion of mine to work with individuals with mental and behavior concerns or diagnosis. I'm more so passionate about the youth because um, they are our future, our up and coming generation. And this culture that we're in now is a bit different from how we were raised back in the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
Um,
Extremely different.
so my number one passion is like to bring that sense of unity back to the community, bring that sense of extended family support, each one teach one, things of that nature.
I like that idea of giving back to the community because you know what's out there, you see what's in the facilities, you are with the clients one on one. You know, you have them in a home setting, in a residential setting, a partial um, hospital partial setting. So even with all that going on, um, dealing with young women, I know we have a history of working together in the mental health field with young females. And it was one of the best times in my life for various reasons. The lives that we touched, the connections that we made as women while there, um, and to see some of the young ladies now, some of them are doing well that we serviced,
Yes,
that we had a
yes,
huge part of in their growth. So when you discuss passion, I resonated with that as well. um, often the clients will come back and say, "Thank you, Miss Reek," or "Can you call Miss Ashley?" Or, sometimes we're denying Instagram requests or, things of that nature for safety reasons, so yeah, giving back is extremely needed. And also the role model aspect. Ashley, I know you are a degreed female, if you will. So with that being said, the youth need to see, faces like ours who are educated, who take trips, who own buildings, who are landlords, who are entrepreneurs. That's all wellness. That has a piece of giving back and also taking it in. Enjoying what you're putting the seed out and then reaping what comes from it. So
Okay.
Um, it- what did you find your biggest challenge was dealing with the young women in the residentials? Oh, we might have a technical difficulty.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
Tyreeka, my phone
that's
cut out
okay.
for a bit
That's
there.
all
Can
right.
you repeat that?
No problem. What did you find was most difficult dealing with the youth, the young women, in the residential setting that we were in? I know I have a few. I know you have a few, but the biggest
Mhm.
challenge, what did you think that was?
Uh, so like I mentioned, my passion is to the youth because they are our future. And at that place where we were, that partial psychiatric residential facility, is where I really had to learn that I can't be Superwoman. That really really set into me that I can't be Superwoman because it became a lot draining to me because I everybody experience in life is different. Everybody household is different. Everybody upbringing is different. And I wanted to instill in them all that I had in me. And not many were so receptive. And at some point or another, like it took me back. But then I started to realize that if I could just, if what I'm giving could resonate with at least one or two people, that could touch the next person and then the next person, and I have to settle for just the small bits that I can necessarily put out. Um, it wasn't easy. I had a lot of residents there that really took to me,
Mhm.
really um, really gravitated to the influences and the knowledge that I was getting, that I was providing them, how I
Yes.
was able to model for them, because it's important that we lead by example,
Right.
not just do what I say, but you
Walk
see
it.
me, you
Right.
see me, yeah,
Hmm.
walk in your truth, like you see me. So
Right.
I'm not just gonna tell you to do something if I'm not implementing myself. My biggest thing in life is treat others how you want to be treated, you know.
By the grace of
So
God, there go I. You never know what
yeah,
your circumstances will turn out to be. Many women deal with things privately. Many women deal with mental health publicly, and you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So when you say that, treat people how you want to be treated, that's that's huge. Because you never know once you leave that person what they're going to go do. Where their train of thought is, and you always want to pour into people, especially women. We need to encourage each other, support each other. I loved the fact that the facility that we worked at was all women. The young ladies that we served were able to see us come to work every day. They were able to see us roll around with them on the ground, get back up, build the relationship, and keep pushing. And
yes,
those relationships, those rapports are long lasting, and they don't forget those. There's an individual that we worked with, a man in particular. People always come back. Oh, hey, Mr. So and so. Oh, hey, Mr. So and so. They don't forget those moments. Clients, male or female. So one of my biggest challenges was being the rescuer. So not necessarily superwoman, but definitely going to rescue something. And you can attest because you had to sit me down a few times. You know, take off. You don't need to go to Colton. Sit down for a second. But I
breathe.
wanted to feed. I wanted to give them everything I had. I didn't have any children of my own at the time. So my time was for the youth. It's always been for the community. But it's 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 always been a joy of mine to pour into people. So
Right.
I love that aspect of what we did and how we supported each other, and we have fun.
Yeah.
Dealing with people with different diagnoses, honey. We get into some
You gotta
things.
make it you gotta make it some sort of like some liveliness in it.
Ash, was it you that? Not to cut you off, but was it you that said, tell all them people, I don't care who it is, tell them all, I said sit down? Somebody was going through something, and one you was like, yeah, tell whoever's available, tell them all to sit down. we're not doing that right now. And I think the youth had I think she played into it a little bit, that she had some things going on, but it was, you had to meet her where she was at. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Christina. Okay, Christina. Tell Christina to sit down. Tell Coco to sit down. Tell, and you had to get into it, and it made it fun, because then that youth then laughed. Ain't I, so I just
Right.
wanted to talk about a little funny moment. But yeah, it's,
Yeah.
you have to meet them where they are and have fun.
That's
And
the
we
most
did.
important. That's the most
And we
important
did.
thing. Working in the social service field is that you can't just jump in and think that you um the giver of the savior of everything. You have to meet the person where they at, and you have to take those, allow them to take those steps through the process of their journey to understand where they at and where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
So those the journey of life is really what makes it all worth it.
Right.
As well as building and sustaining meaningful relationships, such as the one me and you have. We worked together
Speak
over
on it.
10 years ago,
Right.
like, and we're here now. And could actually reflect back on our experiences and how it
Absolutely.
allowed us to grow, not only in our professional lives, but also in our personal lives, and how it
Yes.
impacted um, how we view the world and our passion for helping people.
So we have a question. As a Black woman, what challenges do you face in your field? Um, Ash, you want to go?
Uh, um, as a Black woman, what the challenges do I face in my field? I wouldn't necessarily say that not being seen is just um, it would be more. I'm always the one that's outspoken because, like I said, I work for a lot of organizations
Mhm.
and different various facilities that just they got the money, they big, they out there, they got plenty of clients. So my thing is always to capitalize what the services and supports that we provide for our client, and the challenges is just being overlooked, or my concerns and stuff just being pushed to the side. Oh, there's just one client, they got thousands of them. Oh, it's just this and that.
Right.
So it becomes triggering. um it becomes triggering, and it's no like the Black girl, she's angry, she's outspoken. I calmed that a long time ago, especially from the way where we used to work at week. I calmed that
Those
a long time
meetings,
time ago
because
because and
those.
and that and that instance in that time working in that facility, and then when I went back to school for my master's, I just had
Mhm.
to center myself because one thing that's most important to me in life that I really touched into tapped into within these last, I want to say, 3 to 4 years is I cannot control. I cannot put my focus on so much of the things that are beyond my control. I can't control what people say about me. I can't control that I'm an outspoken person. I am going to control my words so that I can clearly get my point across and articulate the point that I'm trying to make for people, for it to be delivered in a manner that I wish it to be delivered to,
And yeah.
and the audience that I necessarily need to reach.
Right.
I don't have to come across nasty. I can't control how you take what I say. I can't control how you articulate my facial expressions or things like that as an angry Black woman.
It's perception.
That's never the case.
It's
I
definitely
am a
perception. Yeah.
I am in the last few years I have grown to be a very professional person, individual, woman, mother,
Mhm.
all that. And
Wellness.
yeah, and it's just like, respect, because I trust myself, and I expect you to respect the woman that I present myself to you. So that is not about being an angry Black woman. It's just about right and wrong. And
No, and that needs to, and I'm glad that you said it that way, because when we're outspoken, we can be looked at as the angry Black woman, or she's disgruntled. No, I'm not disgruntled, I just don't agree with what you're saying.
right,
And you could be a Caucasian man in corporate, and just because I don't agree with what you're saying, Caucasian man in corporate. That doesn't mean that I'm confrontational. That just means I'm not agreeing with what you're saying. And we can agree to disagree, which is the cliche. But again, my view and my experiences are this, and this is my suggestion, and this is where we're at. And it should not be viewed as hostile or
Right.
argumentative or confrontational.
Or as
You
a
ask
comment
my
mentioned,
opinion.
to try to silence us. No, you don't need to silence us, because I do understand and know what I'm saying, and I do know what I'm talking about, especially if I'm working directly with the people that I'm discussing. I should have a say so.
Firsthand. Firsthand. It used to burn me up a little bit because we were in charge of, direct care, life skills, their wellness, if you will, as young women. And when we would get into the case management meetings, you guys depict this client this way, but she's been doing this. She's ready for discharge. Give her a chance. Find her placement. How do I know? Because I'm with her every day, you know?
Or the cases that
Um,
we had where they wasn't actually preparing these our clients for, reality, like,
right.
this what you're feeding them, or what you are actually giving them, having them privilege, is not reality. You got to
Mhm.
have them go through the necessary process for the growth, so they can identify what they have going on, so they know down the line, if I hit this milestone, I know how to break it down,
Mhm.
and then get over the
And
hump.
make it fit for her, make it fit for him, make it fit for you. Wellness in general as people. We focus on women and young women because we need to be lifted up as much as possible. But wellness is for everybody. Self care is
Everybody,
for everybody.
everybody,
You know, Ashley, what do you do for self care?
everything.
Get
It could
into the
be
trips, like get
every
like
because that's the big stuff. But self care is a daily, sometimes an hourly thing. It could be as small as, like, so I put my kids down for bed around 9:30. They're sound asleep by 10:15, 10:30 the latest. It's at night. I get in the shower. I don't have no lights on. I just take a shower in complete dark, reflect on the day, say my prayers, reset myself,
mm,
clear my mind so I can get a good bed of rest. That'd be the smallest thing. Like, people think self care, you just got to take trips. Yes, your girl is a must for me, because I'm a woman that wears many hats. So it's for sure that I take 3 to 4 trips every year. That is absolutely needed. But
right.
but sorry, my co-host Ladybug.
Hey,
But yeah,
Ladybug.
it's important that us as individuals, period, that we reset and allow ourselves to recharge and rejuvenate. So the trips happens, but sometimes it be the shower. I have a monthly subscription to get massages. I have a monthly subscription to go to the chiropractor to get adjusted. Anything to make my body feel good, the reset,
Right,
to recharge, is what I
right.
necessarily do for self care. Most of the time, if I pour into somebody and I give out information, and I didn't, my cup is probably like 3/4 full, I'll read a book, and then I'm replenished. It
Mhm.
be everything's of that nature. Where I take myself to dinner, I take myself to the movies and stuff like that. So it's a lot. I do anything and everything to care for myself, because it's me, and I have to be here because I have children that rely on me.
Okay. And that's huge with women's wellness, that we take time for ourselves because we're mothers. Ashley, do you vacuum it and back? I've been wanting to try that.
Absolutely. I get on the water bed. I get the electric shocks on my shoulders. I was in a car accident and I had a bad case of whiplash. So that's how I initially started going to the chiropractor. But even after the car accident, I still go once a month to get adjusted because I'm still very tight. And I got a great chiropractor on City Avenue. He does the work, and he don't even charge me that much. So I go
That
to him once a month. Sometimes if I'm feeling too tight, I go twice a month. But I say to get it done, because you don't understand how your body really
holds
harbors
on.
a lot of
Mhm.
what you're necessarily dealing with, what you're going through, what you're handling. and all that. And I have 11-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter, so I'm like moving in different directions on top of like doing my investments and
Right.
working, finishing up school, and
Right.
just taking care of me. I'm moving a lot, so just make sure. I'll definitely share with you that information. That information is not a problem. It's City Line Chiropractor. Dr.
Shannon,
Schwartz, he's awesome.
what was that comment you said? You told me something an hour ago. Put that back up. I told Tyreca all of these things about an hour ago, half an hour ago. I hope she's listening. So Shannon is big on self care. Self care is huge. Self care and
Yes, it
wellness,
is.
it goes hand in hand. Um,
Yes, it does.
and we had a conversation, and it resonated with me, but it was it had me a little tight, Ash, because don't like, and it was coming from a
No,
good place,
you.
but Ashley, me, and I go full steam ahead, and I know
And
when
you
it's
got to
time for
calm
me to
down.
chill. But it's naturally me. It's naturally my nature to have high energy. It's naturally my nature to just kind of have high energy. So I get this self-care piece.
And it's gonna be naturally your nature to burn yourself out too.
I
I've
know
been
what that
telling you
looks
that
like,
10 years
but
ago
I know
because
what that
your
looks like.
anxiety always keeping you to run and move and do this and keep busy. But a lot of times where you just gotta,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can.
success really happens when you sit in discomfort.
I've
Everything
been
you
there
do is not
before,
gonna make you
but I've
everything
been
you do
there.
is not gonna make you comfortable. You gotta sit,
I've been
you gotta
there.
sit and like really evaluate what's going through your mind and what's going through your
Sure.
body and what's in your surroundings and things like that.
Mhm.
You gotta sit in that moment. And it works. You can't be on the
There's
run. You
been
can't
many a
always be
days
on the
for that.
go.
There's been many a days for that. I lived a life of, just with the
Hmm.
pain that I had going on with the endometriosis. That was very that put limitations on my life, not
Yeah.
just, a monthly thing. Like there was a lot of things that I couldn't do. So even with that, I still had high energy. And that's just what it
I know
is.
that's right.
I don't, you know,
Lady said I'm working out and watching you guys. That's self-care, definitely.
that's
I work
awesome.
out 4 days a week, right in the house. I got YouTube subscription. I don't need nobody's gym. I got all my weights and everything. So you go, girl.
Yes.
I'm
So
definitely That's another important self-care. Even how you eat is how
Oh
you
yeah.
eat and what you snack on and stuff like that. It's very much so self-care.
Hmm.
so real quick, I just wanted to pop in. And first of all, thank you, ladies, for creating this space. It's a beautiful thing. I hope more men tune in to kind of get a better understanding. One, and to two, how to help the ladies in their lives be a lot better and make wellness a priority. Because what a lot of us men fail to realize is just the sheer amount of pressure that's on women every day to just be present and show up and take care of everything. And I think having this type of show, it'll be great for our community as a whole because it gives men insight on all the things women experience and have to go through, and hopefully it'll inspire the men to do more and to help facilitate that time for self-care. Okay. And the last thing I want to
Okay,
say
now
was,
Shannon, I'm gonna intervene.
go ahead.
I'm gonna intervene because we all work together.
Right.
We all work together. So we as women have to um explain to our men or explain to our partner, our child's father, what it is that we necessarily need in order to have that sense of like time for ourselves and self care. A lot of that stuff is not always um expressed
Cut and dry. Mhm.
evenly expressed for them to necessarily understand. Now,
Hmm.
granted, the mother being the primary caregiver of the child, it does get tiresome. I swear it gets like but it's a job that we necessarily sign up for. You can't take it back. It is what it necessarily is. But if you're experiencing some sort of a lot of like stress or anxiety, you're just overloaded, always having to like work and take care of the kids. Be
Mhm.
woman enough to express to the father, your man, your husband. Listen, I'm just like burnt out. Like, don't just let it go on a rampage, like until you about to explode. And then he like,
That's not
I ain't
fair.
even know you. I'm just so
Right.
used to you always doing it, so I really don't know. I, really didn't.
Right.
Cause that's me. Like I'm just gonna go. First of all, it ain't no handbook to this mother parenting father
No.
situation. We
Right.
all knew what we was getting into, what we was doing it. So it's just like I'm not going to be the one to keep having to tell you you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get the job done. But before
Right.
I hit my peak, my burnout, my point, I'm gonna call the phone like, listen, I really, I need some space. I need this time. I'm taking this trip, and I'm gonna give you, time in advance to do whatever you need to do because yeah, you gonna have to take charge. You're gonna have to step up. But we gotta also be as women
Articulate to say
open
that.
to like yeah to say like I'm a bit burnt out. I'm gonna need a day or two to myself.
Right.
Like and I need you to just give me a minute.
Right.
So
Um.
sorry to interrupt you, Shannon, but I just wanted to
No,
make
you
sure
you
that's clear
you
because
you
a
absolutely
man's
right.
mental health matters as well. A man
Yeah.
mental health matters as well if they're
You
doing the right
absolutely
thing.
right. Um, you absolutely right. And communication is key. And being a little more attentive than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the last thing I want to say, because I don't want to invade the lady space. You're doing such a wonderful job, Reek and Ashley. I'm really enjoying this. But the last thing I wanted to say is just how important self-care is. And Reek has a lot of goals, and she's going to achieve them. And I know she is, but I just want her to be able to enjoy the fruits of all the hard work she's putting in. That's why, when we had the conversation, just give people a little sneak peek behind the scenes of our conversations. She was like, but Shannon, I'm like, nah, Reek, one of the conditions of me believing in you is making sure you're healthy enough mentally, physically, and spiritually to be able to enjoy all the hard work you're putting in and to stay inspired. You have to recharge that battery every day. So I was just letting her know, build in self-care every day, even if it's a half hour or an hour, to take some time for you. Now, she asked for I told her I had some advice. Now she didn't think that was going to be the advice because she knows me and she knows how hard I go 24/7. But
Mm-hmm.
when you in the role that I am, you have to understand the people that you're working with. You have to be able to know what personality types you're dealing with. Reek, I said to Reek, this is your show, just go. She stressed like, oh, you didn't give me no deadlines because I knew exactly what you was going to do. She says to me, I have the next month worth of shows lined up. I said, Reek, you know how many people have the next month worth of shows lined up? She was like, no, who? None of us. But that's just who she is. But I had to tell her, like, just because I know her, that's not going to be my advice for the next person because I have to understand their personality type.
Right.
But Reek, I'm glad Ashley said it and it's being reiterated tonight that self-care is super. Look at our neck, look at our face. Self-care is super
Yeah, because
important.
I definitely took my
And
ball
I'm
home. I
out
was
of here,
tight when I hung
ladies.
up.
Continue.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
I got
definitely took
oily
my
skin. I'm
because
so
you know
sorry.
you know how they used to mess with me at the job, and I would come to you and be like, "Put, why she say that? That was crazy. Don't
Yes,
fucking speak
because
to
you
her."
always and then another thing for women's wellness, for anybody's wellness, stop taking things personal. Don't
Right,
take everything so personal.
right.
It's never that deep. Everybody is going through something. Everybody is feeling something. Everything is different. Stop
Yes,
taking everything personal. You don't gotta take everything personal. You
yes,
said what you said. That was your opinion. Gracefully. Don't
yes.
take everything so personal and to heart.
We used to crack
Everybody
up.
is everybody is green into a opinion just like they green into a red end. It's fine. I'm not taking it personal. You're entitled to say what you say. Now, am I about to just interject it in my life? Not necessarily. Maybe if it works, if I could, put a twist and make it fit, absolutely. But this another thing that's self care is like don't take everything so personal because it really ain't.
Thank
It's really
you.
not.
No, it's not okay. And I know what burnout feels like. I've been in the game for a while. I don't want and I was trying to explain to Shannon, I didn't want my high energy to be confused with anxiety. I am very happy. My son brings a lot of joy to my life. My health is on the road to recovery. So I also wanted to make that clear too. I'm excited about life. I'm excited about entrepreneurship. I'm
Wait,
excited about this
Shannon, bring that
show.
last comment up. first and last said it took me a long time, yes, to say no, and then you felt like you was letting somebody down, but no, always
Mhm.
trust yourself. Because
Yep.
you can't keep pouring into everybody and then you don't have enough for yourself.
Yep.
You
You're
really
empty.
can't. You always gotta trust. You always gotta trust yourself. And it's just like, no, I don't got it. No, I ain't gonna be able to do it. I don't mean to let you down. I don't mean to upset you, but I don't have the capacity to take it on right now.
And that's
And
hard to say
I love you
sometimes, though,
dearly, but
Ash.
like, because you just be like she mentioned, person last mentioned, you be overextending yourself,
Yep.
and that's what we. Well, I know Reek, you still got ways to go, but I know I learned that from the facility where we used that. Just I was just overextending myself, and that's why I had left.
Right.
I left very abruptly, but a
Right.
lot of the relationships that I built there, I've sustained still yet today. Me and Miss Taste, we still cool, and that's my daughter's
Awesome.
godmother. Me and Ash,
Oh
I was
my
just at
goodness.
her house the other day for her birthday. You know, me and
Yes.
my staff, my other staff, they still call and still rock on it because
Your
it's important
overnights.
to
Mhm.
when when you make those relationships and people and the impact that you put in people's lives and stuff like that is very important to sustain those things. Because I don't just
Yeah.
look at one person as a role model. I take bits and pieces from everybody, and I fit them into my life, and it makes
Absolutely.
to make sense and it makes a difference. It makes me a better me.
I
So
have a
yeah,
lot of powerful
definitely.
women that I take from. Uh-oh.
I mean, and even if it ain't power, even if
Can
it's
you
so
hear me?
powerful. Oh, yes, I can hear you fine. You freezing from time to time, but I can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
But even if it's not so
Right.
powerful, sometimes I look at the negative like that ain't work. I'm gonna learn that might not work for me.
Mm.
Some things is just, you got to take the good and the bad.
Right.
You just gotta manifest with it all, and then
Experiences
like
with
I
it.
said, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I put
That's
up
true. That's true.
I put up my post. I went to church New Year's Eve. We had a afternoon service. We don't do like night watch service anymore because so much going on in the community. Um, but I was grew up down North Philly, born and raised, 20th and Susquehanna. I'm a North Side girl all day. But Shane and I
Yeah.
do spend time at the bottom. I was definitely down the bottom for many years, down there on Penn Grove Street, right around the bridge, over the bridge. But so I still attend my church down in North Philly, 20th and Susquehanna, Jones Memorial Baptist Church, and Christmas Eve, our pastor, Reverend Paul R. Lee, said that his sermons for this year um, will be focused around uh, planning. I'm sorry, praying, planning, practicing, and producing. Everything
Peace.
else manifests after that.
In
That's
that order.
it. In
In
that
that order.
order. You pray for what you necessarily desire. What you pray for God to show you your direction, your purpose He has around for you in this life.
Right.
Then you plan for what you desire for God to bring your way. Give out some pointers, even though God already got the direction. He already know what you
It's
necessarily gonna
written.
do, how you necessarily
Right.
gonna do it is already written. But then you making your vision board. Then you practicing to
Well,
prepare yourself for what's coming, and then you producing it for all the fruits of your labor. That's just
yeah.
necessarily how it goes. And
A circle. That's a process.
that's the sermons that he's teaching us throughout this
Beautiful.
year. So I'm excited.
Thank you
I
for
think
sharing that
that's
with
what
us. I
life is
hope people
about.
wrote that down. Ashley, can you say that again so we can
Yeah.
write it
So
down?
it's praying,
Mm-hmm.
planning, practicing, and producing.
And that screams wellness. With whatever you practice, whatever religion, spiritual, whatever you got going on, those those words, those five, that's wellness. um and thank you for sharing, and people can digest that. Thank you for putting it up there, Big E. People can digest that in any way they need to, and it's empowering. Like praying, planning, practicing, and producing, that's huge.
Yeah. And that's another thing that aids my wellness and my self care is my spirituality, my
Okay.
religion, my faith. Um, some years back I lost sight. No particular reason. I just wasn't
Mhm.
necessarily doing what I necessarily needed to do, or thinking that I had it had it all. And I regained sight of it because now I haven't necessarily been so much like directly in the church. We still have like virtual um, screening, so I
Service.
tend to
Yeah.
attend that way, services.
Right.
So I necessarily do attend that way, but I got more in touch of the God that's in me, and that's more powerful than any building can ever bring to you. Now I love my church family. Some of them are on here right now. I love them all my aunts and all that. That's all
Yes,
my
ma'am.
extended family. I love them.
Aunties, we love you.
But I got more in touch with the God that is in me, and that was more powerful than anything. Shout out to my mom. I dearly love my mom for raising me and my siblings in the church. And without my mother, I wouldn't know the Lord. So I'm so fully grateful for my
She's a
dear
great
mother.
boy. Shout out to mom. Hey, Mom.
So for my dear mother, so I'm pray for her. Thank you, bless her, Lord. But yeah, it's just getting to know the God that's in me is like it's such a big deal.
Okay. What do you have I guess we did talk about tips, coping skills. Some of the coping skills that we did give the young ladies, the young ladies that we serviced, it was limited because of the situation that they were in. If you both could, I got a
Go back
question.
in time. To,
Right.
if you both could go back in time and be your younger self, what advice would that be? Trust the process. Trust yourself.
Be
Trust the
patient.
process.
Yeah.
And
Be
like I
patient.
mentioned, our experiences is what accounts for this life that we live in. You got a birth date, you got a death date, and in between you got that dash.
Mm,
That dash don't get no bigger or no smaller. But everything you did is in that dash. Our experiences is what accounts for the life that we live in. Trust the process. Go through the journey.
yeah.
Feel it all. Feel all the hurt, the pain, the agony, the success,
Child.
the stress, the building up, the happiness, the flourishing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Feel it all. Feel it all. Trust the process. Trust yourself.
Ashley, you need a
Trust your
podcast.
God.
Speaking
No,
into
I'll just be a
existence.
special.
Let's
I
go.
just be a special guest when y'all need me. Don't worry about that. I'm doing other things. I'm working on other things. My like I mentioned, my passion is for the youth, so I'm working towards open up organizations for children. I mean, individuals, children, and young adults with special needs. So that's my focus. I'll
Definitely
be
come back
back.
often. Yeah, she was going
I'll definitely be back. Not a
for
problem.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah,
I was
to my
going with
younger
something,
self,
but
it's just like it would be like don't rush nothing. Don't rush anything. Live your life.
yeah.
Don't take nothing for granted. Be grateful for everything. Trust the process.
I would tell my younger self to be patient. I would tell my older self to be patient. That's just naturally, again, that's just naturally who I am. And I'm okay with embracing me for all of that. And it took me a while because people will say, oh, she this, she that, she this, she that. But I come full, I come with a lot. So
Yeah.
patience would definitely be key for me.
Yeah.
Slow down, be patient. I have dreams, I have desires. I've always had aspirations bigger than where I was. So that might have a lot to do with the need of speed and time and age,
Yeah.
to respectfully for myself. So I'm getting older, and the time is now. But patience is key. Some people in the comments were talking about how they struggled with anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I've never experienced one, or maybe I have, but if I have it was one, and a lot was going on. So now that I think about it, it could have been. But I say that to say we have to take care of ourselves. Wellness looks different for everybody. A lot of people dive into the gym, dive into fitness. When those endorphins are released, that's a self-fulfillment. Going to the gym, healthy eating, that
You
gives
don't
you
necessarily
fuel.
got to go to the gym. You don't.
You
Some people
don't.
need
No, you
that
don't. You don't.
atmosphere. Some
Fitness.
people need that
Just
atmosphere for
fitness.
motivation and drive. But being,
Some
fit,
people do
fit,
it. Yeah. I
you
associate,
can
I
just
was
you can just
associating
take
with
a walk.
fitness, but
Yeah.
fitness in general. Right.
hmm
Um,
There's
Yoga,
one thing we can't
that's
do. We
a
can't just put
form.
everything in a box. everything. We can't just box everything. So it's
Oh
just
no,
not gym.
right.
It's necessarily however you feel be able to take care of your body, like you was mentioning, fitness,
Physically, for
eating,
that physical piece.
and
People, some people believe to eat to fuel their body, not eat to enjoy. There's
yeah,
different. I don't know if you know people who are like that, but it exists. Like, not saying
yeah.
that they taste the food, they enjoy the food, but it's really just to fuel the body. It's not really for any type of enjoyment. And some people enjoy to eat, and that's you know, people are foodies. They like to do different things like that. But whatever wellness looks like for you. Give you ladies this one.
So this is my mother, Pamela Hurd. Give you ladies experience today. When looking back, have you ever seen yourself in any or all of your young ladies you came in contact with? Yes. I be having to block them on Facebook all the time because my page is not private. I had one come through yesterday from Reek page. So some of them, yes,
Nice.
um, but they like because as a social worker, they always tell you once a client, always a client.
Mm-hmm.
But in most instances, the relationship that I built with those young ladies, they appreciate it, and some of them still reach out for help
Right.
because things have not necessarily got so much easier or smoother for them as they got older, and then they seeing things in a different light, and they were impacted by the modeling and that I was there to provide for them, or the guidance that I was there to provide for them. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
they let's say do still reach out. Some of them let's say still keep in contact, which I'm perfectly fine with. Um, for some of them you
You,
just got to draw the line.
yeah, some of it is just it's a bit much. We touched on that a little bit earlier. Like, there was a young lady who reached out to me today, and I've given her, things for the baby. She's a new mom and things of that nature. So yes, Mom Pam, I do still, I still do connect with some of the ladies, and like Ashley said, some you don't, and some you do, because you see yourself in them a bit. Like, she has her marbles. She was a little scared for a little bit. She needed some support. She needed some guidance, and now she's all right. And she
Mm-hmm.
can contribute to the world, married with kids, all that. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, most
Do you
definitely.
have any
That
more
was
questions?
a grand experience.
Right.
If you had to give a message to the men in the community, what would it be? Pay attention. Communicate.
Listen. Hmm.
It's not all about women's self care. Your care matter as well.
Hmm. Wellness.
Articulate
Listen.
what you feel
Actively
what you
listen.
feeling.
Hmm.
Yeah, be able to articulate what you're feeling. Just because you are the masculine uh, species or you are the male, don't mean you don't matter. You holding things down, you matter.
For
You
sure.
definitely do. But just be able to communicate. Nobody is necessarily not mind readers, um, and we just all for us to be able to support one another adequately, to understand one another, to learn one another. We just got to be open, and that in a lot of cases that takes men at time that they don't like it to be a bit vulnerable, to just open up and express yourself. So just be in touch with yourself. Trust yourself, but um, understand who you're dealing with, because not everybody you can open up to. Not everybody you could just share but so much with. But when you have those selective people that are like in your corner, that are driving you, um, that are motivating you, that are supporting you, and want to see you thrive and do better,
Hmm.
that can contribute to whatever you got necessarily going on. And it's just like a match made in heaven. Maybe not. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a family member, um, communicate what you're necessarily going to do too. Pour into yourself. You matter as well.
Right. I agree. I definitely agree. I think active listening is important in a relationship or with your spouse, with the man that you're dealing with. You know, we may be communicating, but are you listening? Is there action behind what I just said? Did you digest that? So I think communication and active listening go hand in hand. So with the two, you know, you can't lose. You know, just listen to
I
that
think they say
person.
Rock got this comment here. You know, I don't got my glasses on.
Got you.
So
Men,
I
the
see
way
what
you
they
interact,
men.
the way you interact with women, are you okay with if a man was interacting with your grandmother, mom, sis, aunt, daughter the same way? That's a good question. Treat, you know, these men, y'all should treat women the way you would treat your mom, your sister, your daughter, your grandmother. With that level of respect. I think that's where Rock was going with. And that's important, you know. That's what I express to the young black men, especially my nephews and my grandsons. And thank you for that. That's important. That's king. That's king. That's king behavior. Let them know.
And
Go ahead, Ash.
a lot of that get like is a bit like oversighted because of the culture that's projected in society nowadays. It's like you're not my mom, you don't carry yourself as my mother or my daughter or my sister or anything like that. So it's just like, and that's some women. It's just different categories. It's just how some women that say carry themselves, but yet and still you being the man and you see a woman, you still want to be like, because you don't know what that woman necessarily been through or what she's going through,
Mm-hmm.
or how your interaction with her could proceed to take her to a different level and get her a different outlook or view, and things of that nature. So it's not always good to judge a book by its cover. We knew that way back when.
Yeah.
um but yeah, it just like I had one rail on my page. I think it said a pretty face could turn heads. I mean, a pretty face could make a man smile, and a pretty body could turn heads. But the personality and the soul and the vibe, the new word is vibe. I'm not a vibe. I'm a full out fledged experience. The experience
Say that then.
of women, of a woman who knows herself, who trusts herself, who
Yeah.
pours into herself, who invests herself.
Yes.
It's something unmatchable.
It's
So
phenomenal. Um,
you
Ashley,
know
a
that's
woman.
what my name is.
Yes,
Phenomenally Almond V is what my name is
that's
on
it.
Instagram.
I
Phenomenally
was about to
Almond
get
V.
right into that. It's you've always had that, self reflection, that power, that and it's a beautiful thing. It resonates. It exudes off you. I've learned a lot from you. Um, so we appreciate you. The girls, I'm sure, appreciate you and love on you.
It's
So
funny
keep
that you
doing what
say
you're
that.
doing.
I mean, it's not funny that you say that, but I mean, it's that you bring that up because me and you've been on each other for 10 years, but um, about like 5 years ago, I went through a great. I went through a lot of things. I went through a lot of things and really like was an eye opener, and it really like woke me up um to the world and to view things a bit more different. Um so I say that to say, like you mentioned, like I people will always say like, you so good, you pretty, you a beautiful woman or whatever. But in me, I felt like I was pretty. But it wasn't until maybe like, I want to say these last 3 years, where I look at myself and say, girl, you are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Because it is my growth. I match my growth with
Mhm.
my my personality, how I carry myself, how I dress, how I appear. Like, girl, you are absolutely gorgeous. Like, you're drop dead gorgeous. Like, I don't care what nobody say. I'm
And
out
you
here. I'm
are.
doing what I necessarily need to do because I feel good about myself. I feel good about me. I feel good about my journey and where I'm going.
Yeah.
How I'm delivering my purpose that God has designed for me. How I'm giving back. Because you
So
always you look at things. I talk to my son, and we used to say like, you talk to your kids what you want to be when you grow up. The expression is not necessarily what you want to be, how you plan to give back to the world, because we all need somebody. We all need each other. As human beings, we feed off of one another to figure out where we going necessary in life. So we
Be
we
the change you
need
want to see in the world, Mahatma Gandhi.
definitely, that's definitely. So it's like, what do you want to do? How do you plan to interject yourself in this world for you to be seen, for you to give back, for you to teach others, for you to
What's your
share with
mark?
others?
Yeah, which you
Yeah,
leave your mark, you leave your legacy. The men, they talk about legacy, the boys, the sons that they have, the nephews that they're raising, that legacy, that name, it needs to it needs to precede itself. What legacy is
yeah,
going to leave behind. Ladybug has a wonderful role model, so she's set. And her girlfriends will feed off of mom, and then the cousins, and so we just need to
yeah.
continue to be those
It
role
actually
models
started
for
with
those
my,
kids.
but Rick, it started with my son.
Hmm.
That's my Prince of Peace right there. That's my pride and joy. My son is really what he is who I started my journey for. So
Mine too.
Christmas of 2010, I found that I was pregnant with my son. I started taking college courses at CCT January 2011. Me bringing a child in this world, working dead end job, just didn't set well for me. I don't mean no disrespect for anybody else. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying my own personal experience of what drove me to start my journey. Um,
Respectfully, thank you. Yeah.
yeah, so I just didn't want to be bouncing from job to job, having to provide for a child. I wanted to do something big. I wanted to lead by example. So I'm pregnant and I'm going to school. I got an infant son and I'm going to school. My son's been here for all three of my graduations. I have my associates from CCP. I have my bachelor's in social work from LaSalle. I have my master's in social work from Fordham. Ladybug was here for Fordham within the last year or so like this. So it's just like like I said, lead by example. My kids won't be able to say like I saw my mom do this.
Hmm.
They see me working out in the middle of the living room. Ladybug on her tablet, my son over there. And if I'm sitting down reading a book, I got my son reading a chapter two, and he doing a short book report on what he's doing. You don't just stop learning because you out of school. He be mad at me about it too, because on the
He's
weekends
going
and
to
on his breaks
appreciate it,
at
Ash.
school,
He'll appreciate it in
he
the
like,
long
we
run.
on a break. We on the break. Why I gotta read? Because your mind just don't stop learning because
Right.
you ain't being taught.
Because
You
school is on a
always
break.
learning.
Right. Right.
Keep feeding it. Keep feeding it while you got that fuel. So it's just
Sure.
it's very important just to lead by example, because
Mhm.
um you can't be like, do as I say and not as I do.
No.
That was my drive, and it it I benefited. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. That was my first graduation from community. My second graduation, I had three of my cousins in the same year graduate with me. My last graduation, the first male in my family graduated from college. It
Yeah.
goes up. It's just
It's
you just put it
contagious.
out there.
Yeah.
You put it out. And you make the culture. You set the aura.
Yeah.
You put the building blocks together, and you let
And
them
just,
start compiling one another, and
yeah.
it just start going up.
Yeah.
It just start going up. So
That's
it's just a
huge.
blessing.
And thank you for sharing that. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for sharing that.
for
Transparency
sure.
is big in wellness. And even as private as you are, given the information that you just gave, we appreciate that. You dictate the culture. Actually, dropping major jewels
Driving major
tonight.
Jews
And
today.
is.
You really
And
do.
is.
You cultivate the culture. So it's
Sure.
just like you always want to be the change you want to see. Pray, plan, practice, and produce. You always want to be the change that you necessarily want to see. It starts with you.
It does.
Like you say, our children, they learn from. It starts within our house. It starts within our
Mhm.
household, and then it carries on. My son, no, he 11. Don't get to acting no fool outside, because when people see you, they see me.
Yes, you are a reflection of me. That's old school. And these kids, these nowadays need to know that, but not feel pressure from it. But again, carry yourself with some dignity and respect with what you're taught. You don't have
And
to conform to what you see outside. It's okay
exactly,
to
that was
what
I was going to
what you
say.
learned in the house
Be
and what mom
yourself.
taught you. Be
Be
yourself.
yourself. Be yourself.
Yep.
Always show up as yourself. Always show up. and present yourself as who you are. You don't gotta mimic nobody. It's better to be authentic than be a second rate version of somebody else. Always be yourself. Always just show up as you.
Authentically be yourselves,
Authentically.
whatever that looks like for
Definitely.
you. And people
Whatever.
will receive you and accept it. And if not, that's their loss, because you are
That's
awesome.
fine.
You know, I am
Because
awesome.
I ain't
So
taking it personal. Because I
just
ain't
like that.
taking it personal.
Just
God
like
bless
that.
you. Good night. It be as simple as that. That's me. That's everything for me. Is
You
God
used to
bless
be
you. Good
cleaning off
night.
the table. I'd be like, give a report. You'd be like, yeah, it was all right. The kids is fine. Everything is good. The numbers is good. And I'm like, well, did the fire alarm go off? You're like, yeah, you ain't got to worry about that. That's maintenance. That's not you. And you really just, it was flow for you. It was flow. And that
Because
was
it was
fun.
time to go home. I can't take work home. I'm already
Boundaries.
transitioning to my next half. Yeah, I'm already transitioning
Boundaries.
to my next half. I can't take work home. Yeah, if there's any major issues, I'm on it. Yeah, this, and this happened. I need to bring you over here, tell you that, tell you this. But ain't
Right.
it, if it corresponded and everything went cool? Last question. Who does your
Hair.
hair? Did I say Ashley?
Yeah, that's for you.
Oh, I do. Oh, your girl's a jack of all trades, honey. Shout out to
She
my
is
aunt
sitting.
Helena. Shout out to my aunt Helena. She's the hairstylist. We got a couple cousins that does braids
Hey,
and everything.
Auntie.
But my aunt does hair. And back in when we was back in North Philly, I was a shampoo girl, so I was always the last person because I ain't had to pay to get my hair done. Then when sometimes she be tired, so she don't do my hair. That drove me and motivated me to sit down and learn how to do my own hair. I've been doing my own hair for I want to say about 25 years now.
That's a long time. That's a
I was
long
lying.
time.
Here's the last question. What don't you do? I can't say what I don't do. I don't know. I don't know what I don't do until I don't do it. I push myself to everything. You never know your limitations until you push yourself to greatness. This life is a
Say
blank
that
canvas.
then.
I didn't grab the paintbrush and started making strokes. I became out surprised how many imperfect perfections I
Masterpieces.
done mastered. So
Sure.
I can't say what I don't do.
Picasso's.
I've been a homeowner for over what 13 years now. I bought my first house when I was 24. I had my first child when I was 25. Got my first degree, and it just goes up. It's just a blessing. It's just a God in me. So
Yeah.
I'm in here cementing floors. I'm painting walls. Whatever you need to do, your girl got you.
That's it. And looks good doing it. So
And that's self-care. That's wellness for me. Look, that's self-care wellness. I'm
and on
telling
that note, that's wellness.
you, that's wellness.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so
Yes,
much. Thank you so much, Ashley. Tonight was
absolutely.
amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for blessing me with my first show. You don't know what this
Yeah.
means to me. I
Oh,
don't
I
want to
know
get
exactly what
emotional
it
on the
means to you,
show,
but yeah.
but I appreciate you. And you
I
know
know you
that.
said.
I love you back. Great show. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. We will have more women's wellness each and every Wednesday at 6. Thank you so much, everybody. Ashley will be back by popular demand. And we'll just see what her schedule looks like to see if she can help co-host. So thank you, Ashley. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So that concludes our Women's Wellness Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Please come back next week for more and exciting content, conversation, laughs, and insightful, meaningful conversations. Thank you.